Hello everyone, welcome to my video. Today I want to talk about how I edit my book, my first draft, and I haven't done a video in probably 2 weeks, so yeah. I just woke up, so I might sound very weird, but yeah, to be honest, I have not really started with the editing phase too serious. And the reason is because I needed to take a break from writing, and that's why I kind of wanted to take all of the thoughts that I had about the book. I just wanted to take it and kind of view it as a reader instead of as a writer and not have any biases. So I just took a break from writing for about like 1 week, and then 2 days ago I just started editing again. And how I edit is, so what app I use. I use what platform I use is Docs, Google Docs. I think I find that the most kind of useful or pretty simple to use. So I use that instead of like words. How I edit is pretty actually, you know, personal to everyone, I would say. I think everybody has a different way to approach it. For me, it's basically I read a chapter and then, like, without any thought, like without any kind of biases towards it, or without having to correct every single sentence or like every sentence. I just go through it and then I read it once more. But then I kind of put on the suggestion mode, and I just like take points. I like take kind of comments and whether to do to change this thing or to remove it, or just like you know yeah, so pretty much like that. And I just go through that. It would be pretty easy if I had Loom right now, but I don't really have it anymore, so I could just show you. But yeah, I think it's pretty understandable what I mean. You just like, you know, go through and read all of your, for example, the first chapter, and then you read it once more, and you see which part you want to remove, which part you want to keep. And I think the removing and the keeping parts are pretty much personal. I don't really know how to explain mine. I would say that it's some parts, they don't really bring the story forward, and that is what I pretty much cut because they're boring. And some parts I find really boring, so it was boring while writing it, it was boring while reading it, so I just removed that without any discussions. And then the parts that I'm very excited about, I just let someone else read, for example, my siblings, or from my parents, because I may have bias towards it, so that's why I find it very exciting. For them, I just tell them, read it without any biases. So if they find it as interesting as I do, then I maybe keep it, or I keep it, of course. So yeah, I mean, that's how I cut stuff, like cut parts, and how I keep them. I just have written all of the things I want to talk about, so that's why I'm looking here. So how I decide, the pace of the story, or how I decide the parts that I want to cut. It is pretty hard, I would say, because I have spent a lot of time writing them, and it's not really easy to cut them. So that's why, of course, there's a part of me that says, "Oh yeah, just let it be," but I also want the story to be good, so that's why I'm gonna let boring stuff in it. So I have to really sit down with it and just think, does this bring the story forward? Does this help to reveal something about the characters, or reveal something about the story itself? Does the story unfold themselves? If not, I'm afraid I have to cut it. So yeah, those kind of stuff. I think your brain kind of decides itself, or just my gut feeling. Everything that I write or edit or just decide is from my gut feeling, because most of the time it's right. So yeah, I use that. And yeah, so just like I said, the first draft is just for me to know the story. So I write it in order for me to kind of know what the plot is, who the characters are, what the beginning is, the end, the middle, all of it. So it's just for me to get to know the story and really write it down. And editing is the actual part to make it good. So editing either can ruin your writing, your story, or make it better. And it's just, yeah. So the first thing that I look for, just like I said, is scenes that are necessary, or parts that are not, there's not really something happening. And yeah, for example, sometimes I have a very big kind of habit to repeat stuff, and I think I've done it a lot in this book as well, and that's why I have to kind of change some stuff, or just make it different and all of this stuff. So I'm very much aware of it. So, and yeah, so one of the other problems that I have with writing is over explaining stuff. Just like I had said in previous videos, that I am trying to kind of make my writing show not tell, which is basically showing the character what they're feeling, what kind of a person they are, through their actions, not me telling you, or me telling the readers. So yeah, so one of the things that I had to overcome was over explaining stuff. And yeah, sometimes you don't really need your sentences to be so long, and mine was. So I had to kind of overcome that as well, to just write shorter sentences sometimes. I'm not trying to make every sentence beautiful. I'm just trying to keep up with the story and just write it in a better way. And I know that it will take time for it to become better. So I'm not really chasing this kind of mindset of like trying to make it good, like suddenly, without any, in such a short time. And I know that it will never be perfect, and that's completely fine. So I'm just trying to remove that perfectionist mindset that I usually have. So yeah. And what I've noticed is that editing feels like reading the same chapter, the same scene over and over and over again. And sometimes cutting stuff that you like, but others might find boring, or finding something that suddenly works. Before that, I had, read stuff, or wrote stuff that I thought, okay, they're not really good. And then I read them again while editing, and I just found them really good because they worked for the story. So yeah, that can happen as well. So yeah, I mean, that's just right now my journey of writing, of editing, and yeah, I just wanted to give an update on that. So yeah, thank you so much for watching.